Get a £5 free bet every week with Offer Club from William Hill. Simply stake a total of £20 or more across the week on pre-match football accumulators with 4 or more selections, and you'll get a £5 free bet on the Friday. Join William Hill Offer Club on mobile or online now.
This is KUGAN CASSIUS for Rifle TV in association with Macklin Gym Marbella at the weigh-in here for Golovkin Brook. With me, I've got Matthew Macklin. Well, if there's anyone in a good position to give a prediction for this fight, it is yourself, Matt.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's a difficult one for me because I really do like Kell Brook, and you know what? I've got so much respect for him for taking this fight. I mean, no one in the middleweight division wants to fight Golovkin, and Kell Brook got offered it straight away, jumped up to weight division, took his on. So I couldn't have more respect for him for taking the fight. Having said that, I don't see, and he's a friend of mine, I don't see how he wins the fight. And I've tried to, I've played around the fight around in my head many times, but I just don't see how he beats him. I just can't see what he's got that could beat him. Call's not like, he's a fast fighter, and he's pretty slick, but I don't expect him to he never runs round the ring and does it for 12 rounds. He kind of stays distant. He's got that little lay back, but I just don't think that'll work with Golovkin. If anything, I think he could walk on, he could pull back onto one of those, like Golovkin really sort of throws those long hooks. I'd be worried that Kell's going to take one of those.
I mean, you said you can't see a way of how Kell Brook's going to win this fight, but if you was to pinpoint a way of how he could try to win the fight, would you say it was to do it early?
Yeah, I think his best chance is early. I always say in a fight, you got two major things that can sway a fight, advantage or disadvantage. If you're stronger or you're faster, usually speed is at its most advantageous early on because you haven't got your range, you haven't got your distance, your timing is all out to start with. But once you get that timing, it's almost like you acclimatised to the speed. You get used to it, you start timing it. It's less of a factor, and as fatigue kicks in, physical strength becomes more important in a fight. For me, I think if Brook goes out, we expect him to be the faster fighter. He's the welterweight, so I want him to use his speed, get out there and throw loads, use his hand speed, because after a while, Golovkin will start to time it. But hopefully, if you can get damage, you can drag him into a certain type of a fight. You can get a lot of success, maybe bust him up, close his eyes, cut him, whatever. Wind him maybe to the body. That would be. I would tell him to go to the body definitely early on. Then maybe he can success. Maybe he really gets into the fight. Then maybe Golovkin comes down a little bit. Who knows? But I think the longer the fight goes, it's going to be hard to keep him off for 12 rounds. And I don't think, if Brook can outbox him momentarily in the fight, I'm sure he probably can. But I don't think he can sustain it for 12 rounds. So I think Kell needs to start fast, just keep it going for as good as he can, as long as he can. Hopefully he gets a lot of success and maybe bumps him up or cuts him or wins him and can go from there really in the fight.
This week there's been certain boxers that have come out and just said it how they think it is, that basically Brook has no chance, and people giving them criticism over that being tangled up with not backing Brook. But there's a difference between backing. You would want Kell Brook to win and you'd back him, but whether you think he'd win or not is a different matter.
Completely different. My heart says Brook, I want him to, and that's what I'm searching. My brain really racking around to try and find a way how I think he can win. Listen, it's boxing. Strange things happen in boxing. They could clash heads. He could get caught. He could catch him with a peach of a shot, catch him cold. Who knows? But that's cool. I think if I'm doing that, I'm clutching at straws. If I'm giving my honest opinion, I don't see how he beats him. And everyone talks about Kell might be heavier on the night and all this stuff, but that's irrelevant. His whole career has been at welterweight. He's been getting hit by welterweights. Kevin Vizier and Frankie Gavin, they're welterweights, and they're not particularly big punchers at welterweight. They're going in against someone who's a freaky puncher at middleweight. No one in his own weight division wants to fight him. So that's the sort of respect. That's what you have to take into account when you're giving Kell the respect for taking his fight. No one in the middleweight division wants to fight Gennady Golovkin. Kell Brook got offered it straight away, jumped up and took the fight. So massive respect to Kell for taking it, and I want him to win. But if I was going to sit here and say how I think Cal's going to win, I'll be either clutching at straws or you know, conning the listeners.
How do you think Brook will cope from Golovkin's power? What we see, you know, you've been in there with him. So how do you think from that first jab, the first exchange, the first feel of power that Brook has, how do you think he'll cope with that?
Well, I can tell you now that Golovkin's jab is going to be a lot harder than the last few guys he's fought power shots. So, you know, and he's got a good jab. He's got a very good jab. So, you know, Cal's got a good jab. For Cal to be landing his own jab, he's going to be in a position to get hit back with one. So, you know, I think it's a difficult fight for Kell, I really do. Listen, it's not, I'll say anything's possible in boxing. I think if he goes out there and really goes for it, uses his speed, and you know, I think he has to set an unsustainable pace, basically. How he needs to fight to get success in the fight, I don't think it's sustainable for 12 rounds. So, but if I was part of his team, I'd say, go for it. Don't worry. I know you're gambling, but it's your best chance of winning. Don't think about 12 rounds. Just get out there and fight every round like it's, you know, could be the last.
Do you know when people say, who has Golovkin fought? Do you ever sit there at home and think, hang on a minute, he's fought me, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who's he fought? He hasn't fought, you know, people of sort of Canelo's stature, but he's beaten a lot of good fighters, you know, don't forget.
Solid middleweight.
I went nip and tuck with Sergio Martinez, you know, and when I fought Sergio, I stopped sparring 3 weeks out, a bruised rib, I busted my knuckles a couple of days later, so the last couple of weeks was just shadow boxing. And going into the 11th round with Sergio, I was 3 up on one card, only a round down on the other 2. It was a close fight. You know, Felix Sturm, I felt I beat comprehensively. You know, Golovkin, I couldn't do anything with him. You know, I mean, even when I tried to get dirty, he didn't even really ruffle his feathers. He just kept his composure. He's very as much as he's on you and he's aggressive, he has a level of patience. He knows he's got that one shot. He knows he's got the equaliser. He knows he takes his time. Although he's putting pressure on you, you're in 5th gear running round, but he's barely broke 1st gear. He's barely got a sweat on. That's how I felt when I fought him, anyway. You know, and I've watched him obviously before and after him. Not too many have done much better. They might have lasted a bit longer or survived a bit more, but they didn't really have much. No one's really kind of been competitive with him, have they? So, you know, I mean, Kell. I think Kell could probably be the best welterweight in the world. You know, he beat Porter, close fight. Thurman and Porter was a close fight. Danny Garcia's there, you know, Amir Khan. I think they're all similar levels. You know, they've all got different attributes. Some are, you know, quicker, some might hit harder. But, you know, is he the best welterweight? I would say, yeah, he might be. But Golovkin is definitely the best middleweight in the world. Like, no one in his own division wants to fight for the world title. That's how fearsome that guy is. You know, his jabs are going to be much harder than anyone Keller's fought. Power shots are, you know, and that's when he starts getting out of his shots. The tank's gonna empty a lot quicker. You know, when someone's got the power to take you out and they're standing in range, you're under threat. That burns nervous energy. The tank empties a lot quicker.
All right, well, listen, Matt, thank you very much for giving us a little bit of your time. So, doing a bit of work for Sky this weekend?
Yeah. So,
yeah,
happy days.
Happily retired.
I'm very happily retired. Looking back, I was probably done 3 years ago, you know, but you always hope, you always put it, your performances where you don't go so well, you think, oh, I could have done the weight better, or maybe it was this, maybe it was that, the sparring, I wasn't up for that one, I'd been out for a while. You know, you're always looking for reasons why you didn't perform like you should, and none of us ever want to look in the mirror and admit we're getting old, you know, so, yeah, but I look back and I think, yeah, I think probably from certainly the Golovkin fight, maybe even before, a little bit before there, I just started to lose the love a little bit. Yeah. You know, the last fight I watched was the highlight. I didn't even watch the full. It was the Sergio Martinez fight. I haven't seen him a fight since then. I haven't bought the Boxing News in 5 years, so that probably tells its own story, really. You know. But.
And the MGM had its 4th year anniversary recently as well. So, what can you say? Going from strength to strength.
Yeah, very much so. And probably while I was fighting myself, I was very much. You know, I'd give him my sort of advice and opinions when it was asked, but I wasn't especially proactive with it. I did, you know, I was involved obviously, and I always gave me opinions and gave me advice on the big matters. But since retiring, I'm a lot more proactive, a lot more involved, and I'm actually really enjoying it. And if anything, I feel like I'm getting my love back for boxing in a different capacity. Yeah. So that's good. I'm enjoying it.
All right, Matt, listen, thanks for talking to us, and we'll catch up with you soon. Weighing today and then tomorrow night it's on.
Yeah, can't wait.